Donald Trump is running, metaphorically, that should go without saying. He's never going to actually physically run, away from his nonstop promises on the campaign trail that he was going to lower the costs of everything and he was going to do it faster than anyone has ever seen before. It's easy. Not so much anymore. He's backtracking, and that's utterly predictable. In fact, it was predicted. But the thing about it is that it leaves his allies in Congress in a pretty difficult position. And I want to give you an example of that. This is House Speaker Mike Johnson being asked about whether the tariffs will lead to prices. Now, the only appropriate answer is yes, but he can't say that. Instead, he does this.
I'm not going to predict the outcome of, first of all, which tariffs will be enacted and how it will affect prices. We'll have to see. I think you're seeing a measured approach by the president. Tariffs clearly is going to be a part of the policy agenda from the White House. All of that he's said to us will be in the executive branch and not the legislative branch, so they'll have unilateral authority over it. But I think he's going to be wise in how he does that. I don't think you'll see across-the-board tariffs in whole countries or whole industries. I don't believe that's what will happen.
Gonna have to fact check you on there a little bit because on day one he announced whole country tariffs, 25% for Mexico, 25% for Canada, 10% for China. Were you not paying attention in the news that day, Mike Johnson? I feel like as House Speaker, you should do a little bit of House listening and know what's actually going on, because those are three of our biggest trading partners in the entire goddamn world. So it seems kind of important that he's doing the thing you said he wouldn't. Also, you said that he would do all of this wisely. You know that you don't actually believe that. But Johnson demonstrated, I think, a little bit of wisdom, at least political wisdom there. Did you notice the thing that he did? I mean, sure, he lied about not knowing that raising the price of things with tariffs would lead to prices being raised. That's just how that works. But he said he's going to do it in the executive, not in the legislative. He's doing that, everyone. I support him, but he's doing that. We're not doing that. When the price inevitably go up, it wasn't me. It wasn't old Mike Johnson that did that. That, I think, says more than everything else combined. But anyway, yeah, he is doing it. He even, remember, when he had the little tiff with the president of Colombia, his first instinct was, we're going to do emergency 25% tariffs on their entire country. This is not targeted. This is not wise. It's not nuanced. It's not limited. It's tariffs everywhere, all over the place, in response to literally everything. I'm surprised he hasn't called for tariffs on California yet as a condition for getting fire aid. But anyway, that's what it is. He's obviously worried about it. He knows what the actual effect of this is going to be. Now, we can have, perhaps, Tory, a little bit of a debate about politically how it'll shake out if it does lead to higher prices, because people seemed really worried about inflation during the last election, and it seems like more of that is coming. So what do you think about these tariffs? Do you think maybe they'll be successful in getting him to back off a little bit? How do you see that going?
I think the threat of tariffs can be useful. I think the idea that a country might kowtow, much like some of the media, due to a threat of tariffs might prove to be somewhat effective, right? But how much was Mike Johnson like that Homer meme where he's just like backing into the grass? You know what I mean? And you're right. He's like, I'm in the appropriations building and I don't want to be part of this. Because as you said so clearly, tariffs equal inflation, inflammatory inflation. I could go more and more on, but if you don't understand all that gobbledygook, is tariffs equal more money for eggs. So he's not stupid. He knows that. He's trying to back out. What I think is interesting is, how does Mike Johnson stay in that position when he has to appeal to his constituents and appeal to Trump, right? He's got to do like one of these back and forth, back and forth. He's stuck in a rock and a hard place. He's not dumb. He knows that this is going to cause inflation to go up, and yet he still has to maintain the butt kissing. You know, that still has to be part of it. So he's stuck, and it sounded like this, and that's what it's going to get from these guys until we figure out if these threats are real or if these are just literally trying to be effective threats. But again, tariffs going up means your eggs and bacon go up too. Please don't forget that for those that voted.
Yeah, and cars and clothing and, anything we buy from overseas, which I'm pretty sure is everything. I think we make Budweiser here, but no, that's woke. We don't want to buy that anyway.
No, never.
So pretty much everything. And I'll close with this. This is before the tariffs. Eggs in LA, at Target they were $10. I believe at Ralph's they're at $9 right now.
Wow.
Now, I am not at risk of being thrown out on the street. So I'm not in the sort of desperate financial position that I've been at earlier phases of my life. And yet when I see $9 eggs, I can tell you right now in my fridge, I have 2 eggs. And I know that because several times I've gone to make eggs and thought, not yet. I'm going to save them.
Wow.
Because that's how expensive they are. Like, imagine regular people. You just can't eat eggs anymore.
No,
That's
gone.
before tariffs. That's before all the other chaos. And I know we're focusing on the eggs. It's 1,000 different products across 1,000 different things. And again, for our industries as well, like the reason we had so much trouble with the tariff, the trade war that we had with China the first time around is it isn't just that it's more expensive to buy the things that we get abroad. They then do retaliatory tariffs and our farmers can't sell our crap to them.
Right.
And so it hurts our business as well. All of this is terrible for business. Donald Trump and the Republicans are terrible for business. Long and short of it.
You should turn
Anyway.
that into a song and enjoy that music. Like loop that.
I probably should.
Oocha, you know?
I like that beat, but then I don't really listen to a lot of music. You know what I just realized? I don't think we really have enough time to do a good version of our next story. So we can talk a little bit more about this and read some comments. Business leaders are trying to get him to back off. The Republicans have to know how devastating this will be in the midterm elections. 2 years is more than enough time for the chaos and raised prices to filter out there and for people to now put the blame firmly on them rather than on Biden. So you just have to assume that a responsible political party would get him to dial it back, but they haven't really shown themselves to have much of a backbone. And so I don't have a lot of hope. I'm really worried. Like on one level, I'm like, good, screw them. But I don't want people to suffer for 2 years with higher prices. It's going to cause a lot of needless suffering. Any final thoughts about this before we move on?
It's just also a very narcissistic, which I and many psychotherapists have said Trump is. It's a very teenage thing. You don't agree with me, tariff on you. You don't want this, tariff on you. It's not a well thought out plan. It's not a detailed, complicated plan. It's just a base plan of like, I don't like you. Here's the punishment, and even if it hurts the American people, you've hurt me, you've hurt my ego, therefore you're punished. And then it's a cycle of retaliation. That's all it is. And eggs become like gold. It's like saffron at this point.
Yeah. Which apparently I was reading in the Old West, eggs were actually very expensive. So maybe we're getting back to that.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, you're totally right. It's a teenage thing. It's like he's so dumb. He learned one thing that he gets to do, and he's like, oh, I'm going to just do that every time. And the incentives are all wrong. When he does it, his base is like, yeah, that's strong. I mean, they're shooting themselves in the foot the whole time, but it's set up for. We'll see. Maybe he'll get a new trick, a new move or whatever. But for now, this is what we're stuck with.